Hey folks, this is Monk, and we are back with another episode of From the Canopy Film Show. And I'm joined as always with my co-host Cornelius, aka Evil Corny.
What up?
What's going on, man?
Not
And
much.
folks, if you haven't been here before, this is From the Canopy Film Show, where me and Corny team up each episode to review some films that we've seen. Some of them are in theaters, some of them are streaming. However we can get them. So we got a few on deck right now that are out. And yeah, I think most of these are out or available right now. So I'm going to start off with a documentary. So I'm going to start with the documentary called Earth, Wind, and Fire. To Be Celestial versus the Weight of the World. And this is directed by Questlove of the Roots fame. And he's been on a documentary kick. I think he also did the
Slide
Summer of
Upon the
Soul.
Stone. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Sly Family Stone documentary. So he's on a run right now. And this explores the musical origins and lasting cultural impact of Earth, Wind, and Fire. And of course, it stars the group Earth, Wind, and Fire. And we've also got a louder commentary from, past and some current peers of theirs, musicians, giving their input and how they've been influenced by the band. But what did you think about this, Cornelius?
Really enjoyed it. This is more or less my mom and dad's band. But I grew up with them in the house. Really enjoyed this behind the scenes. At one point I remember them kind of being into the superhero things, and that's how their costumes were designed. But I don't recall them mentioning that, on this documentary.
Mm-hmm.
But I always thought their costuming was like real cool. It seemed like something that was coming out of a Kirby book. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. But overall, I'm a fan of their music. Like I said, I grew up with them because of my parents. But I thought it was a good doc, and got a bit of like some behind the scenes things that I didn't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought it was cool, man. I think some of that superhero stuff kind of just came from their spiritual influence, coming
Yeah.
from their leader, the group's leader. And I think it's really cool just seeing the origin of it. And of course, you kind of get the stereotypical thing that happens with some groups where there's a little bit of rift, and unfortunately they were able to pull it back together, man. But this is really cool watching this and revisiting the music and songs. And I'm not a regular listener of them, but I have been exposed to them. But also hearing things that that they did, and it's like just like, oh my god, yeah, they did do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Just classic music. And the crazy thing about them, they were just so um they had their own lane, but it had like universal appeal, man.
Yeah.
Especially if you're into the music side, not just the vocal aspect, but the music is there. The band was great, really great players. Everyone's just killing it on their instruments and just bringing something just new and refreshing to music as a whole, man. Like I think I wrote when I did a quick little letterbox thing, like, yeah, this is cool, this is dope. But one thing that I wrote in there is like, I feel like the world is a better place for Earth, Wind, and Fire to have existed. Them existing and putting out music, I think it just made, just living better. You know what I'm saying? It made, life a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? Just for having these guys around, man. And this is a cool look at their career and their the music that they brought to the world,
Their sound was it's different than. It's not R&B. I never really was able to categorize them because it was
I would say
you had them, you had
they're closer to like blues and funk, man. And if you're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
describe,
I would
I think also when you're touching on that Sly stuff too, where it's kind of like
yeah.
psychedelic rock, in a way. So yeah, man, yeah.
But it's a good mix, and Prince kind of had a little bit of this. Like the band Chicago kind of had this. Average White Band was like this. Actually had a group of actually had a
Everybody
bunch
had
of
a bit of them, I think.
huh?
Yeah, they were
And
so
Commodores,
influential.
yeah. And even like now, I think the closest we have now it might be like the Roots to me, are along those lines. But this
Yeah,
is the type
yeah.
of music I enjoy, listening to.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's just really crazy, man. And even when you think about just going to the hip hop level, hip hop is a big sample based music, and these songs have been so sampled over the years, and so these guys have been, just like I said, influential, sampled, and inspiring, since they came out, man. It's crazy. And also, I think this story is true. I'm not sure. I remember watching Badass, and they were talking about one thing that they mentioned in that movie, which is about the making of Sweetback's Badass song, was that um the director of Badass Sweetback's Badass song actually kind of talked them into doing the soundtrack for that film, doing the music for that film and the score and stuff. And it was kind of like they did that as a favor. Who was to Melvin Van Peebles?
Yeah, but yeah, that's what you're
And
saying, Peebles. Yeah,
yeah, and that soundtrack also kind of helped, get their name out of there. I got to look into that because it's mentioned in the Badass movie, but I also found it kind of weird that that wasn't mentioned in this documentary. So I got to look into the
yeah,
history of
yeah.
that. I wonder if there was some, artistic inflection on that story. But yeah, So and that's going back to that's early '70s exploitation, man. That was one of the first black exploitation films that broke through, and for them to have their hands on that, that's kind of amazing, you know. But yeah, I would encourage anyone that's into any kind of music to watch this documentary, man. It's good. These guys are great. But let's go into this next one, man. So the next film I'm going to talk about is a film called Masters of the Universe. And this is based on the toy line from the 80s. You know what I'm saying? I think all of us older folks, had or wanted at least one or two He-Man figures, you know. But in this film, the Sword of Power leads Prince Adam back to Eternia, a world sheltered under the fiendish rule of Skeletor. Joining forces with Tila and Man-at-Arms, Adam must embrace his true destiny as He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. This film is directed by Travis Knight, and this film also stars, we got Nicholas Galitzine as He-Man. We've also got Camila Mendez as Tila. We've got Jared Leto as Skeletor, Alison Brie as Evil Lynn. We've also got Marina Baccarin as the Sorceress, Idris Elba as Man-at-Arms, and we've also got a bunch of other auxiliary characters. It's kind of crazy how they bring in, most of the, the popular characters, like, your Beastmans and
Ram Man.
yeah, Ram Man. Yeah, Ram Man was awesome, man. But what'd you think about this film, man?
I had a lot of fun with this. It gives me um, kind of like Flash Gordon type vibes. It has a
Hmm.
real good score to it. I really enjoyed the score, but him just being stuck on Earth for a while until he finds the power sword and going back to Eternia
Hmm.
um, to get back with his family and everything. I thought this was a really fun movie. It's a real good popcorn film.
Hmm.
Um, it's some serious stakes, but it's not taking itself 100% serious. And I don't know if that's what a lot of people don't like about it, but it kind of it kind of gave me between a little bit of Thor Ragnarok in here with but like
Yeah.
I said, I had a lot of fun watching this.
Yeah, I felt
And
like
Jared
it's
Leto, I'm not the biggest Jared Leto fan, but him as Skeletor was fun.
yeah, yeah. He killed this, man. Like that was the thing too, man. And honestly, how serious can you make this? This is based on the '80s cartoon, which was not serious at all. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So I do appreciate the nods that they put into the put into the film, nods to those characters from that original toy line in the TV series. And there's a couple of gags too that kind of make fun of that stuff a little bit. But yeah, Jared Leto, I thought he did an amazing Skeletor, man. Like I feel like a lot of times, you need a good villain to make the film work, and he's a great villain, man, in this. And I did like the fact that the story, I don't even remember really much of the original Masters of the Universe story. I never really sat down and watched the Dolph Lundgren version, so I'm just going in this and taking it for what it is. And I like what we got, the lore that they built up, the stuff that was going on, the conflict in Eternia, how the prince gets sent away, and then has to come back, to take over and save the realm. But yeah, this thing was a blast, man. I like the characters that we got in here. They felt kind of like the cartoon characters, man, in a way.
Yeah,
Tila
yeah,
and Adam. There's always that kind of tension, like they should be together, but they're
yeah.
also both serving, the crown and doing their duty. I like Man at Arms, giving him with Elba, you know what I'm saying, giving him that dark arc where he's, turned into to the drink, you know what I'm saying, to deal with his issues, and it is just fun, man. Like and
The
even
action,
Ram Man and the other characters, I had a blast watching it, man.
yeah, the action sequences were real good in this too.
Yeah.
I thought for what it was, I had a lot of fun with fight. Some of the fight
Hmm.
scenes that we had, use of
Yeah.
weapons and stuff like that. I was really liked how like Man at Arms had his gun, like his holster coming out almost like RoboCop's, and then his mace
Hmm.
was something that
Yeah.
kind of just like looked like something that was like handheld at first, and then it just got big and grew as a
Hmm.
weapon or whatever.
Yeah.
Everything about this was like real fun and real thought out. I had a lot
Yeah,
of fun
yeah,
with
yeah. The fight scenes were
it.
way better than anything we ever got in the cartoons, man.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it was a blast, man. Yeah, Man at Arms is definitely one of my favorites. I gotta look to see if they're making a line based on these movie characters, because I'd definitely get me a Man at Arms just to have him and put him on the show. But
I
but yeah,
think
it's just a fun time, man. Like the pacing of it, this is good, and like it's a big budget summer film, and I felt like they didn't waste anything. I felt like
yeah,
all the money is on the screen, and they went and did their best, and we got good results because of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think the toys have been out, so I'm not. You probably look on Amazon, but I did see somewhere where it was a Man at Arms, and I hadn't tried to buy it yet.
Yeah, yeah. I need the Idris Elba Man at
Yeah,
Arms.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, it was a great time, man. I was surprised at how good this thing was as it played. I'm sitting down and like it didn't even take me a long time to get into it. As soon as this thing started, I was there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, but I highly recommend He-Man. Yeah, they got it. I'm looking at it right now. And I'm about to probably order this thing. So our next film is gonna be Disclosure Day. And this film is directed by Steven Spielberg. And in this film, a meteorologist and a cybersecurity expert find themselves at the center of a movement to expose the government's cover-up of extraterrestrial secrets. And this film stars Emily Blunt. We've also got Eve Hewson, Colin Firth, Coleman Domingo, McKenna Bridger, Wyatt Russell, Noah Robbins, Josh O'Connor, Elizabeth Marvel, and we've also got Elliot Viller, Brian Case, Chavo Guerrero. And I think that's going to be most of the folks in this that, most of the main guys. I might have missed some, but I think we covered everyone. But what'd you think about this one?
I thought it was a solid film. I thought that it was going to be a little bit more mystery happening with this, but it's pretty much like a straight out, told story in a way to me. Um, I think Coleman Domingo did a real good job. Well, it is some mystery happening because you really don't know exactly what's going on,
Hmm.
but it's not a very well kept secret like they were, doing because a lot of this stuff is kind of out. You know, everybody's seen a lot of this. Some of the found footage or whatever, small amounts of found footage, or some of the theories and stuff like that are kind of out there, but nobody's really seen anything to where it's 100%. We know this is real. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And this movie is, to me, it kind of goes across like none of this has ever been seen by anybody. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing I really think that kind of bothered me. But I kind of like how Emily Blunt's character starts getting this bit of a ability, and Josh O'Connor's character is kind of given a bit of a ability, and they kind of come together.
Hmm.
But for what it was, I really enjoyed it. I don't think it's
Hmm.
Spielberg's best, but among some of his good, solid films. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah, I think I rated it good, but I kind of expected a lot more, considering who was involved, and I probably might have feel like I've skewed my rating a little bit higher because it is a Spielberg film. But I feel like you know, the cinematography was great, and he has really great staging and moving through the environment with the camera. Man, there's some of these shots that just reminds you that you are watching the Spielberg film. But then
Yes,
there's other things in it that didn't remind me of watching the film Spielberg film. Like all right, take for instance, Emily Blunt, Coleman Domingo. I feel like all of these casts in this were great. Even the guy that plays I think Noah is the main agent that they're up
Joshua
against.
Campbell. Oh,
Yeah, Noah Scanlon, played by Colin Firth,
oh yeah,
and
Colin Firth.
everyone's
Yeah,
great, but also felt like there was kind of a lack of character development, and this film's kind of long, you know what I'm saying? It's about almost 2.5 hours, and I'm just like, why don't we know so much about these people? It's like Emily Blunt, it just hits the ground running. Same thing with Coleman Domingo. He's great at his role, but like, yo, I just wanted more of the background. I felt like this thing would probably have played out better for me if it was maybe a series where we could get a little bit more of this background and stuff. Also, the thing that was kind of freaking me out a little bit, there's a weird mechanic to way this a little bit of cat and mouse. You know what I'm saying? You got
yeah.
Noah trying to track our guys down, and them trying to avoid him, but also get to this point where they can basically disclose everything. And it was a weird. I didn't know what was going on at first, but then when I got it, I was like, all right, whatever, this is cool. But then I felt like they were repeating that back and forth a little bit too much for my taste without really bringing anything new to it. So it kind of made this film a little saggy in the middle for me. But I will say this, man. By the time you get to that last 30 minutes, I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
way
yeah.
that unfolds and the way they're trying to let's just say without spoiling it, infiltrate this place so they can kind of, get this information out there. I thought that was crazy. I was like, yo, I'm just like, this is a really tense moment. Are they going to pull it off, or
Yeah,
they
yeah,
not? Or are they
yeah.
going to get stopped? Or are they going to make it? And I thought that played out really well. I just wish the rest of the film kept that same energy. It's mostly, like you said, it's mostly conversational and more like a espionage kind of spy kind of thriller. But they do got a little bit of action, and that really definitely reminded me that Spielberg can be great at that because there's like a couple of
That train
short.
scene.
Yeah, the train scene, and even when he escapes from the farm, with the car, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yo, this felt like I was watching because I watched Sugarland Express for the first time, and that was his first film after the what was the
Duel.
other one? The Duel, I think. What was the
Duel was a
one?
TV movie. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah,
this was
yeah,
like his
but
first fight.
that was his first one after that, and that kind of reminded me of the car chase sequences in that where they're running away from the police and stuff, and which is a really early glimpse of his his talent for directing action and staging it, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's probably going to be for me maybe middle lower of the pack for Spielberg. I'm
Like I
glad, I'm
said, it's
happy he's
good, not
still
great.
yeah.
And also saying that the story is just like straightforward. You kind of learn a
Hmm.
little bit in between, but all the stuff that does disclosed, other than finding out it was real,
Yeah.
is stuff that we've kind of think we've seen or heard about. You know what I'm saying? So it
Hmm.
wasn't.
Yeah, I think Eve Houston's character, I think Jane Blankenship, probably had what I would call the most character development because she's kind of joining our characters and aiding them on this mission. She doesn't have a lot of screen time, but she pops up. She's hanging out with Wyatt Russell's character,
Yeah.
but she does have this dichotomy. Like she's very devoutly religious, and she's wondering about the
No, she not.
impact.
She's not really. She's not
Um,
really there with Wyatt Russell.
who's she hanging out with in this? There's like
That's
someone that
Jack
we met.
O'Connell's girlfriend.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, Jack
Yeah, yeah,
O'Connor. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. My bad. It's him. Yeah, Josh O'Connor's. Yeah, but
I
it's
mean, yeah,
like
Josh O'Connell.
yeah, you see her having this dispute in her own like what what's the implications if we come to find out we're not alone, and how would that affect religion, and even it's kind of an arc. Like she's probably the character with the most kind of arc in this film, where you see them go from one state to another state, and then finally to the point where she's okay with it, and still continues to help out characters. Like there's a real cool scene with her and like another nun, and the nun kind of guides her a little bit and helps her figure this out. And it's like, yo, there's nothing to worry about. Like, which
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
also is a thing in real life because I see that mentioned a lot lately. Because lately we've got, our government is releasing files and all this stuff, and it's kind of weird that this film's coming out now too, which is kind of interesting timing. But it's always a thing that people say, well, people won't be able to handle it. It would destroy religion. And I was like, I don't know, dude. I feel like this might could reinforce it in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. But that's all. I feel like that's always a cheap cop out as to why we don't have the information that the government has on UFOs. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, it would destroy
Just think
the
about it,
society
Corey.
would
A lot of people
collapse.
can't. A lot of
Society would
people.
collapse.
Yeah, a lot of people can't handle Facebook and Twitter. So
Yeah, I don't know if that will hold up because your bills are still going to be due. Your
yeah,
rent's
yeah, I
still
know,
going to
but
be
you know what I'm
paid.
saying.
We don't give a
You
damn
know what
about
I'm saying.
ET.
A lot of people can't handle things on Facebook and Twitter. So
Yeah, yeah, but
no,
it's all
yeah,
it's just something interesting. And like I said, though, that aspect of it is probably, like I said, what I feel like is the most character development we get. And I kind of wish, like I said, I think this thing would have definitely played better as a multi-parter. Where we could get these characters fleshed out and get this whole concept more fleshed out. But it's okay, man. It's a good film. From Spielberg. And might be the last one. Great score too from John Williams. I made sure I sat there through the whole fucking credits because I don't know if we're gonna get another John Williams score. He's in his 90s.
yeah,
This
yeah.
might
He
be the
came
last
back
one.
for.
This might
It
be the
came back
last one.
for. What's the one he came out for before this?
I can't remember, but the was it the one about his family?
The Fablemans. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He came back for that
Fablemans.
one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Boom. But yeah, Disclosure Day. Definitely check it out.
Yeah.
So let me see. My last one I'm gonna bring up is a film called The Furious, and this is an action adventure film that's maybe out of theaters by this end of this weekend in most places. It actually had a limited opening, even though it was kind of wide, but compared to how many screens are out there, it got about half of them. But this film is directed by Kenji Tanagaki. And in this film, Wei Wong's daughter is kidnapped by a criminal network. His only ally is Navin, a journalist whose wife has mysteriously disappeared. Fueled by furious vengeance, the unlikely duo finds themselves in an explosive martial arts showdown against a relentless gang of thugs. And this film stars Mo Si as Wang Wei. We've also got Joe Taslim, Yayan Ruhian. You might know him from the Raid. We've also got Ji-Ja Yanin, Brian Lee, who's about to be a superstar. We've also got Joey Iwanaga. Sorry about these names. We've also got me mispronouncing them. We've also got Yang and Yu, Sahajak Boom Tanakik, and a lot of people, man. Like basically, this film is kind of feels like a collaborative production in the fact that we've got a lot of big stars from all aspects of martial art filmmaking. We've got Chinese guys, we've got Korean, we've got Indonesian, we've got Thai, we've got also what else, man? Everyone and an American. But they've all teamed up to make this film, and this film is amazing, man. This is probably one of my top 5 film watching experiences. I've seen it 3
Really?
times now. Yes, I've seen it 3 times now, man. And I'm not saying it's a top 5 film. I'm still trying to decide that, but I think it will be. But I'm talking about top 5 film watching experiences. Every time I've seen this film, it has the best crowd reactions, man, because this film is balls to the walls martial arts action. Like there's things that are happening in this film that I've never seen before. You know what I'm saying? And it's getting a lot of Raid comparisons because I think not that it's very similar to the Raid story wise and structure wise, but I think in the fact that the Raid represented a new level of martial arts filmmaking. It was stuff that we hadn't seen before. So watching this film, it felt like that. There's moments in this film where the audience is just going nuts, man. We're all just like, you're going to hear, if you what, man, that's why I was telling people, man, this one was one to see in the theater. Every time I've seen it, at the same moments, everyone is like, oh, damn, what? Like that kind of reactions, man. And there's some really cool moments in here too. They had the crowd amped up and just really enjoying themselves. But the crazy thing about this film is they took a lot of time directing this action, man. So I don't know who the coordinator is. It might be Kenji Tanigaki. He's done previous films, and also helped do stunts on other stuff. But the crazy part about this film, man, it's one of these films where these fights are so versatile, man. There's stuff you've never seen before. They're combining different styles. There's grappling mixed in. There's tight quarters combat, which also helps sell this thing and take it to the next level. The story's simple. Our main guy, his daughter gets kidnapped. Come to find out, in this area that he's in, children are getting kidnapped. They're being kidnapped by this gang, and the gang is selling them to the highest bidder for whatever reasons. Our reporter goes undercover, played by Towson. Him and his wife have been investigating this, and his wife goes missing. So he goes undercover in an attempt to infiltrate this gang. And a little bit in the beginning of the film, he joins forces with our other character who's had his daughter kidnapped, and they both go in to try to take these guys down. And it just goes from there, man. This is an awesome film, bro. I'm telling you, man, this is one of the ones that's going to get your blood pumping. It might make you go home and hit the gym. You go do 12 push-ups tonight, after you watch it. But it's amazing, man. It's just a really great thing. I can't wait to get my hands on this, man. Once it hits physical or whatever, I'm putting my order in right away. I want to just watch this thing over and over, man. There's a really bunch of cool featurettes out there. That's been cool seeing them go out of their way to promote this. The stars are on a really big promotional run, going city to city, showing up at screenings, and just really cool stuff. Even to the point where I was looking at the training, like a lot of times older version, these fights were choreographed on the spot, kind of in a way. You kind of go in there and you figure stuff out. These guys were out there months in advance, scouting the locations, right? So then they would go to the gym and kind of recreate the locations, the space of the locations, and then work on the choreography for months and weeks at a time. So there was no improv, of going on, and when they got to filming these scenes, they knew exactly what they were going to do, had to rehearse every move and just execute it, and it pays off on the screen, man. This is beautiful, bro. This is definitely a big leap for the martial arts genre, and I hope it helps to get more eyes on this stuff, man. And I'm gonna have a blast kind of going back and looking at the previous works of these guys, because I know a lot of their names, especially Yaya and Ruyan, from the Raid, and he even popped up in Boy Kills World. I'm familiar with him, but there's so much films from these other actors that are in the film. Shout out to Brian Lee. He's going to be a superstar. You recognize him from Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think he was in one of the episodes of the Wu-Tang American Saga series. But that guy, he's next for having his own like starring vehicle, man. You know what I'm saying? Only person missing in this thing was probably Mato and Soup, man. I want like that would have been great if they could have got him to do this, man, as well, to play a little role. But yeah, man,
He
great
did
time in the
stunts
movie.
on Shang-Chi also.
Okay,
Brian,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Brian
but
Lee.
yeah, man, go see this if you can. It's probably going to be out soon on video. I feel like they're probably going to capitalize off of that buzz and get it out to digital and get it in people's hands as soon as possible. But yeah,
Yeah, it's you showed me it was 3 showings at the theater that I really didn't think that was showing it at all, and
hmm
hopefully they have some more showings this weekend because
I think they're
I'm a
late, man. I looked for yet tomorrow and the other day they're going to be like 9 o'clocks. You know what I'm saying? But it's worth it, dude. You be charged up coming out of this thing, however late it is. You be able to make it home, easily. It's that good, man. I'll put it this way, man. I'll tell anybody who sees it, if you don't like it, I'll pay you for the price of your ticket, man. It's that good.
don't say that because it'll be
No, yo, the thing debuted with like I think the Rotten score on that thing was at 100% for a long time, and then some hater brought it down to like 99, and I think it might be at 97 right now. But that's crazy, dude. It might be one of the top reviewed films this year, dude. Like that's so nuts, man. Yeah, right now it's at 97%
wow.
um critics and 95% on the popcorn. You know? But yeah, but I think we're going to be out of here, folks. We're going to catch y'all on the next episode because we got a minute and 20 seconds to close this, wrap this up, man. So make sure you subscribe to us. Turn on notifications, tell your friends about us, and we're gonna be back with more reviews.
On Cornelius Bros, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Cornelius Bros, and on TikTok where I watch videos. At
Yeah.
Cornelius 1976.
All right, folks, we're gonna be back next time. Peace.